impression that we now have of a prime minister that is feathering his own nest and is in some way on the take. And that is a deeply, deeply damaging thing as far as the electorate are concerned.
Did you know that a single revelation could shake the foundations of British politics? Isabel Oakeshott, renowned for her fearless investigative reporting, has once again exposed a shocking secret, this time about Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
Work here? Is someone actually plotting to make this party, this leadership, this particular prime minister fail? How can they have left that off? Because talk to anybody, and I know probably I'm in a bit of an echo chamber. A lot of people that I talk to are very, very passionate about what's happening to our country as a result of the loss of control of our borders. But I think that many Labour voters and many who, aren't sure who to vote feel really strongly about this. So why isn't it at the heart of his agenda? I find that utterly bewildering.
Known for her relentless pursuit of the truth and her knack for uncovering political scandals, Oakeshott's latest expose has left the nation in disbelief. What exactly has she uncovered? And how could it change the course of Starmer's leadership and the future of Britain?
Absolutely with you and the millions of people who think this bloke is a disgrace. He has no plan, he has no conviction, he has no backbone. I don't buy this government at all. It makes me furious with the shambles that was the Tory party.
For years, murmurs about Keir Starmer's personal and political life have circulated in Westminster's hallowed halls. While many of these rumours have been dismissed as idle gossip, Oakeshott's recent expose on live television has thrust these speculations into the spotlight. The story, which has captivated the nation, raises questions about Starmer's integrity, transparency and ability to lead during one of Britain's most challenging eras.
That since 2019, our dear socialist leader has accepted more freebies, more gifts than any other MP in all of Parliament. This, of course, includes what we already knew, that he took £20,000 worth of suits and fashionable glasses from Labour donor Lord Wahid Ali.
If the whispers are true, what else might the public not know about the man leading the country? The centrepiece of Oakeshott's allegations centres on a troubling claim Starmer, during the COVID-19 lockdown, allegedly misled the public about his whereabouts and activities. According to Oakeshott, he filmed official messages from a luxury penthouse belonging to a wealthy ally, passing it off as his own home. If true, this revelation paints a picture of a leader willing to manipulate public perception, a betrayal that has sparked outrage among voters.
Very many people didn't vote Labour at the last election.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that many of them want a rerun. That isn't how our system works. There will be plenty of people who didn't want us in the first place. So look, what I focus on is the decisions that I have to make every day.
This isn't the first time Starmer has faced criticism, but Oakeshott's revelations have intensified existing doubts. Over the past year, his leadership style has been described as robotic, uninspired, and detached. Critics argue that he appears more focused on optics than on addressing the pressing issues facing the nation.
Mind up, as I have done, that we're going to do the difficult things first, then I think it's inevitable that people do feel they're difficult decisions. I mean, I understand that.
The United Kingdom is grappling with a cost of living crisis, post-Brexit uncertainty, and a fractured society. In such turbulent times, the public expects its leaders to demonstrate authenticity and a clear vision. Starmer, however, has often been accused of falling short on both fronts. Could these accusations be the final straw that erodes public confidence in Starmer's ability to govern?
They're crying out for in this country, aren't they?
And it's absolutely there for the taking for a dynamic politician that is not really dislikable. And that's quite difficult, actually. I mean, almost any dynamic politician, any strident politician, any bold leader is actually also dislikable.
Of course.
Isabel Oakeshott's critique of Starmer is not limited to his policy decisions. She has positioned herself as one of his most vocal adversaries, dissecting his every move with precision. From his handling of domestic affairs to his approach to international diplomacy, Oakeshott leaves no stone unturned.
I'm trying to be all things to all people. The people like Thatcher and Blair didn't care. They had a plan, they had something set out, and they were going for it, whatever the response. Isn't that true leadership, though?
It is, and I think people are just desperate for it in our country. We haven't had those options on the on the table, have we, in recent elections? Of course, we don't have a presidential system, so people are not voting for a prime minister.
Her recent appearance on live television was no exception. With her signature honesty, she laid bare what she described as Starmer's administration's lies and hypocrisy. According to Oakeshott, these are not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern of behaviour that undermines public trust. If Starmer's public image crumbles, what does this mean for the future of British politics?
Isn't that typical of the mainstream media? This is what he said. Oh, your approval ratings are even lower than Nigel Farage's at the moment. True?
I mean, just ridiculous. I mean, Nigel Farage is one of the most popular politicians in the country. That's why millions of people voted for him and his party at the last election. It's not their fault that the voting system doesn't reflect that in terms of the number of MPs.
Starmer's critics argue that his leadership is more reactive than proactive. Oakeshott's revelations have only added fuel to the fire, reinforcing the perception of a prime minister out of touch with the electorate. As she exposed, Starmer's alleged missteps extend beyond personal conduct to include questionable political judgments.
His wife, Victoria Starmer, took £5,000 worth of free dresses from the same guy, Lord Wahid Ali. We also learn that he took £4,000 worth of hospitality at 2 Taylor Swift concerts, £698 worth of tickets for Coldplay tickets. He's taken thousands and thousands of pounds worth of hospitality at Arsenal.
For instance, his reluctance to engage with controversial but influential figures such as former US President Donald Trump has been criticised as a missed opportunity to strengthen Britain's global standing. While some argue that distancing himself from divisive leaders was a calculated move, others see it as a sign of weak leadership.
One. Trump, I mean, today made this, he's going to get rid of trans people in the army, he's asking, I mean, all sorts of stuff, right? And people, all the women are shaving their heads in America, wearing black and refusing to have sex with their husbands, and all the liberals are leaving and all that. Do you not think that election should teach the British not the Constitution, the system here, something rather large, which is that actually the truth of the matter is that the real person is seemingly being ignored. I don't know what phrase to come up with. I call them jams, just about managers. I'm talking about the people that work.
Is Starmer's cautious diplomacy a sign of wisdom or evidence of indecision?
A much more exciting, interesting, dynamic, charismatic, bright, engaging and yes, divisive figure than Keir Starmer. I mean, I know who I'd choose to have dinner with.
Public trust is fragile, and Starmer's administration appears to be losing it. Reports of his acceptance of extravagant gifts, such as luxury concert tickets, have sparked widespread outrage. In a time when many citizens are struggling to make ends meet, these stories paint an image of a leader disconnected from the struggles of everyday people.
But it just doesn't feel like... I suppose with Boris there was some excitement around him, if we're casting back a few years now. But it just doesn't feel as if there's been someone that everybody, or that a large number of people could rally around and that is selling some hope for our country, because everything's just so negative, isn't it? And
the revelations about the penthouse, combined with these stories, have left many questioning Starmer's priorities. Is he truly committed to serving the nation? Or is he more interested in maintaining his comfort and status? Can a leader focus on personal indulgence effectively address a nation's suffering?
Well, and this, I think, really does need investigation. Now, you know, I'm sure you have these problems as well. I spend every day in every way being furious about the amount of tax I have to pay on my reasonable income. Meanwhile, it turns out that the Prime Minister last year, his income was a very hefty £404,000. He paid on that £99,000 tax, so in essence 25%. Now the rest of us, most of us, are paying vastly more than that. How did this happen?
Oakeshott's critique also extends to Starmer's handling of international relations. Despite opportunities to strengthen ties with global allies, his administration has often been accused of needing more direction. This criticism is particularly significant given the UK's post-Brexit position on the world stage.
the time, I don't want to be constantly complaining about the direction our amazing country is going in.
But that's the point. But we talked about this last week. I don't believe that we have a leader or a government that are particularly keen on this country or even love this country, and certainly not proud of this country, because all they do is bend to the knee at any foreign court that creates a law that is against, in my mind, most of what's good about this country.
For instance, Starmer's failure to capitalise on a potential alliance with the Trump administration is seen by some as a missed diplomatic opportunity. While his supporters argue that distancing himself from Trump was a moral decision, critics like Oakeshott see it as a sign of political naivety. Can Britain afford a leader who shies away from tough but necessary alliances?
Have been broken. Well, change the rules. This is the Prime Minister. If he doesn't understand what a terrible look this is, specifically, these freebies that he keeps taking, to go to Arsenal games, to go to pop concerts, clothes. Why does a multi-millionaire need another multi-millionaire to give him clothes? And how the hell is he getting away with only paying 25% tax? These are serious questions, aren't they?
The COVID-19 pandemic has left an indelible mark on British society, and Starmer's response to the crisis continues to draw scrutiny. From accusations of policy mismanagement to the more personal allegations raised by Oakeshott, the pandemic has become a defining issue of his premiership.
Actually plotting to make this party, this leadership, this particular Prime Minister fail. How can they have left that off? Because talk to anybody, and I know probably I'm in a bit of an echo chamber. A lot of people that I talk to are very, very passionate about what's happening to our country as a result of the loss of control of our borders.
Oakeshott's claim that Starmer misled the public during the lockdown, allegedly filming messages from a luxury property rather than his own home, has resonated deeply with voters. For many, this revelation feels like a betrayal of the shared sacrifices made during that time. If a leader cannot be truthful during a crisis, can they be trusted at all?
And many who, aren't sure who to vote feel really strongly about this. So why isn't it at the heart of his agenda? I find that utterly bewildering. And you know what? Every time that he makes a basic mistake like this, those on the other side, those in the opposition parties, literally are privately celebrating. On the one hand, of course.
One of the most damning aspects of Oakeshott's revelations is the broader question they raise about transparency in public office. As she has argued, the issue is not just about Starmer's conduct, but what it represents: a lack of accountability at the highest levels of government.
Of turning this around, zero, because there was a glaring omission in all of that, which is immigration.
Yeah.
It's like number one thing that exercises Labour voters and many others besides.
And indeed reform.
The media's influence on political narratives must be considered, particularly in the age of 24-hour news cycles and social media dominance. In the case of Keir Starmer and the controversies surrounding his leadership, figures like Isabel Oakeshott have leveraged media platforms to amplify their critiques. From television debates to viral social media posts, Oakeshott's unfiltered approach has ensured that her voice reaches a wide audience.
You want the country to get better. You don't want to see the country get worse. It's terrifying what's happening. On the other hand, when a leader makes errors as fundamental as this, what you see is an opportunity to actually replace.
This raises critical questions about the objectivity and ethics of media representation. While Oakeshott's criticisms may resonate with a segment of the public, her frequent appearances on media platforms risk reinforcing a one-sided narrative. The lack of balanced reporting exacerbates public distrust in leadership, as sensational headlines often drown out opposing voices or defences of Starmer.
Right, let's get back to old Starmer. The Mail headline, the Daily Mail headline this morning, I think summed it up, Isabel. Starmer, the £18 million penthouse, and the excuses that just don't add.
Additionally, the rise of alternative media outlets has shifted the power dynamics in political communication. These platforms, often free from traditional journalistic oversight, provide a stage for more extreme or unverified claims. Oakeshott's partnership with such outlets has further amplified her criticisms of Starmer, but at what cost to democratic discourse? The role of the media, both traditional and alternative, in shaping Starmer's public image remains a contentious and impactful factor in the unfolding political drama.
weeks, the Starmer clan stayed in Lord Wahid Ali, Dr. Feelgood for the Labour Party. You need stuff? I got money. What do you need? I got money. Holidays. You want to go to New York? Yeah. What you looking for? What you like? 1.2 million pounds. I think I can help you.
Public trust in political leaders is a cornerstone of democracy. Yet recent scandals and allegations have placed Starmer's credibility under intense scrutiny. Reports of opaque dealings, perceived elitism, and allegations of dishonesty have cast a shadow over his tenure. At the heart of the controversy is not just the alleged behaviour, but the broader implications for leadership accountability.
And yeah, I'm trying to think how he could have got that tax bill down to 25%. I mean, even if he were using, if he's got his own limited company and he was trying to take advantage of every possible kind of expense, I still don't see how he would have got it down that low. I wonder what...
The public's perception of Starmer as disconnected from the struggles of ordinary citizens is fueled by reports of his acceptance of luxury gifts and his reluctance to address pressing economic inequalities.
Oakeshott's accusations, particularly those concerning Starmer's actions during the lockdown, have only intensified these sentiments.
The artifice there. So there's a number of really, really questionable things here. The whole staging of that announcement, that Christmas lockdown announcement, which was made to look as if it came from Keir Starmer's own house, but was in fact filmed in Ali's house. What's that all about?
Leadership accountability extends beyond addressing criticisms in the media. For Starmer, the challenge lies in demonstrating transparency and a willingness to confront these allegations head-on. Failure to do so risks further eroding public confidence, not just in him, but in the broader political system. This crisis of trust raises fundamental questions. How can leaders bridge the growing divide between themselves and the public? And more importantly, can Starmer regain the moral authority needed to lead effectively?
An attempt to deceive there. That's what that was. It was stage setup. And then as for the weird stay supposedly during GCSEs, I mean, Keir Starmer in his moronic, robotic voice, rich of us wouldn't have done that, all parents would do that. Well, actually, no, they wouldn't.
Almost as good as me.
But with public disillusionment growing and his critics growing louder, the road ahead is fraught with obstacles. Can Starmer rise to the occasion, or will he falter under the weight of expectation? The clock is ticking. Will Starmer's leadership survive, or is this the beginning of the end?
Fight for our values. Show our strength in an ever more volatile world. But also to show to the British people that their country can still do great things. And to be honest, not just great things, things that they should be able to take for granted.
Regardless of the outcome, one thing is clear: Isabel Oakeshott's impact on British politics must be considered. Her fearless approach to journalism has reshaped the narrative surrounding Starmer's leadership, forcing both the public and the media to ask difficult questions.
On about how meticulous he's been in declaring it, and he'll try to imply that actually plenty of other politicians have taken more than him, but they just haven't been as honest, and how much advice he's taken to stick with the rules. None of that actually matters. It's the overall impression that we now have of a prime minister that is feathering his own nest and is in some way on the take. And that is a deeply, deeply damaging thing as far as the electorate are concerned.
For Oakeshott, the mission is not just about exposing one leader's flaws. It's about holding power to account, a principle that lies at the heart of her work. As the political drama unfolds, one thing is certain: Britain is watching, and the stakes have never been higher.